What is your dream job? Mad scientist. I wanna engineer tissues for things like organ transplantation and improved cancer treatment. The giant robot can come later, but I married an ME, so that's on track. I'm applying for my PhD. Wish me luck. I'm terrified. Good luck, else I can grow. Wandering hobo that parents tell their kids to avoid but they don't listen, and so he guides them in saving their town from an ancient evil with awesome king fu lessons and occasionally wise yet comedic banter. He also can fly with his beard like Ice King. So you wanna be a movie character? Redevelop historic buildings in urban areas in a way that respects their unique features and history and also equips them to improve the surrounding urban fabric. Hey, I'm a city planner and this is what historic preservation planners do. Make it so. A few years ago I would have said doctor. Now I am a doctor, so if I had to pick another dream job I'm going wizard this time. Sounds like an origin story for Doctor Strange. Running a combo of a winery, brewery and coffee shop at a beautiful location with easy hiking trails and fire pits outside, plus a built-in movie theater with laying around room and a room for playing board games, pool, skiball, some arcade games, etc. Also dogs are allowed and encouraged. There'd be snacks sold and some vendors could have trucks outside. Forever student. I would start with all the fields I couldn't study because I would not have a decent living with them. Astrophysics, mathematics, paleontology, history, exobiology. So many cool stuff to learn. Owning my own used video game store selling only games that come from the PS2/Xbox era or earlier. Coffee and snacks available with a retro arcade in the back. Arcades seriously need to make a comeback. At some point I wanted to be a writer, wandering places and write about people, culture, history and experiencing them firsthand. Didn't get to be one. Now I wish to retire to a quiet forest life, where it snows and I have a place to view the nature, where I cut wood to heat the place up and make tea, where I could read, farm and hunt. You sound like me. The older I get, the less I want to interact with other people. Personal interactions used to be my writing inspiration. Now I'm just tired. To be a cat. Someone feeds you. You poop in a box that someone else changes. Lounge around in weird places. Claw people, and it's okay because cats are cute. Yet it really sucks having to change your own poop box. Pastry chef. I want to own my own little shop that can hold like 10 ppl, but I want it to be pastries that aren't common or have unusual good flavors. I've thought about it so much that I have a name and a logo in mind. Honestly, I'd love to just be like a free-range do whatever you want inventor, like to just have an engineering lab and getting funding from the government or private investors to just make whatever I come up with and bring all these ideas I have to life on my own schedule would be great. I had this job professionally for about 3 years. Hardware prototyper in the design research division of a multinational. It was every bit as good as you imagine. I do similar work now in hardware control systems. The big difference is that it's in a startup, so budgets matter. Being an 8th grade teacher. Fortunately, I have my dream job. Working with young adults is so much better than working with adults. Working with young adults is so much better than working with adults. I wish I had gone to your school. Wind farmer. I love wind turbines. Would love to know how to do maintenance on them and then just spend my days driving around the country servicing wind turbines. I live in Iowa, which is the largest producer of wind energy in the US currently. I see ads for these kinds of jobs here all the time. You should take a look. Maybe they have a journeyman program or something similar. I didn't know I had my dream job till I started it. I am lucky enough to take care of beautiful homes and work with a staff who love their job. Our boss is fabulous and takes care of us, so we take pride in what we do. I know that this will probably get buried under the 4,347 comments already submitted, but my dream job would be to travel the world and document cultures that are at risk of disappearing. Irish mythology was paved over by Christianity. So much of their mythology was manipulated to fit a Christian narrative that many of their original stories are lost to time. There are also so many Native American, languages, religions and histories that we'll never know about because their culture was torn apart and muted. All of that lost knowledge just seems so tragic to me. I've always been fascinated with storytelling, so myths and folk tales hold a special place in my heart. If I could have any hand in helping to preserve them for future generations, I'd consider that my dream job. I think it would fall under the umbrella of anthropology, though I'm not certain. If there's any kind of specialty in anthropology that would focus on myths and storytelling, that's what I'd want to be. Of course, most of my energy would probably be put towards trying to help these cultures survive and thrive into future generations. But if for whatever reason they're not able to, I'm sure their children and grandchildren would want their history and myths preserved in their original languages so they can always have a connection back to their heritage. Folklore studies is a subset of anthropology. My undergrad was in anthropology, and that might be the field for you. It'll probably sound boring to most, but being a mortgage underwriter sure feels like a dream job to me. Stimulates my mind every day, comes with a level of prestige that gives me a sense of pride, self-worth, and I am off by 5 every day with 10 paid holidays a year. Tons of autonomy and flexibility to take care of family business and appointments during the day without being treated like I'm not a team player. I couldn't ask for a more satisfying career. I know you else won't see this, but I've always been into cocktails. I always wanted to be them fancy bartenders flipping glasses and making cocktails, martinis and more. Would love to be a bartender for a big fancy wedding for someone famous. Play with fire and all of that. Something about it seems so fascinating to me. Depends on what dream I'm in. Sometimes I run a little shop. Sometimes I'm a crime fighter. Last night, it was strictly about survival. Small farm, a few dairy cows, some reliable equipment and just enough land that I can work the fields myself for a minor profit. Trick question. I do not dream of labor. Real answer. Cat cafe proprietor. We would rescue cats off the streets and pull them from overcrowded shelters and let them live happily in the cafe where they'd get lots of pets and have lots of windows to sit in, and also you could adopt them if you wanted to. I went to one of these recently out of state. It was way better than I thought, and we even got to see one of the little babies get adopted during our visit. Have high speed internet and some large monitors set up and you got yourself an awesome working space. My dream job ever since I was 6 years old was to be a cabinet installer like my dad. I achieved this dream when I was 20. Dad took me on as his assistant when his last assistant suddenly died of a heart attack. For 11 great years I and my father did install for a small local cabinet company. 3 years ago the owner of the company, Jim, retired and sold the business. Jim's son Tom didn't take over like my co-workers and I all thought was going to happen. Instead, an account whose father was a concrete company owner bought the place. She fired our best project manager within the first 3 weeks. She fired my father 6 months later, a month before he was gonna retire. She fired me a month and a half after that. Then 2 months later I found out my father is terminally ill. I spent the last 2 years helping my mother take care of him as he slowly died. He passed away the 5th of May at 8 p.m. I've been dealing with a form of PTSD ever since. Hey dude, that's rough. I hope you find a way to peace. Indie game development. Always been interested and now I'm trying as early on as possible to succeed. Even if that doesn't work, I got to back up in software engineering so I'm not too scared. But still, I really hope it works out. I heard advice that said don't just dream about what you want to do in retirement. Go out and do it now. A lot of people dream about retiring and sailing around the world, etc. The thing is, you could try out sailing right now and see if you like it. Same goes with many of the dream jobs on this post. With the possible exception of the person who wants to be a cat, most of these dreams are attainable if only part-time or on weekends or after work. You're a nice person. You deserve nice things. Founding a solar punk colony in the mountains, and creating a syncretic culture and cuisine with a found family in the process. Well, it was to study animals and their wild habitats and stuff, or rehabilitate them for their release. But jobs require a bachelor's degree to work in a zoo for $16 an hour or less. Researchers need a master's or PhD, which makes you overqualified for other jobs, and you still only make like $60k max unless you become a professor. Super competitive, and jobs are super hard to find. You have to be physically fit to live in the wilderness studying these animals and be okay with subjecting yourself to all temps, being attacked by said wild animals, bugs, weather, etc. Field work is like 10% and everything else you do is behind a computer. You study the animal, but it doesn't really help you save them because humans are just going to keep encroaching in on their territory and polluting the GD planet. For the decades we've had wildlife biologists, zoologists. The world's animal populations are plummeting, so nothing is changing. Traveling for work is almost a guarantee, and I can't emotionally be without my pets for longer than 2 weeks lol. Biology, zoology, wildlife biodegrees are notoriously oversaturated fields. Too many people wanting to study it and not enough jobs for it, and they don't pay well, so the ROI for the degree isn't very good, and college debt worries me. So many people saying they can't find work with these degrees, and rehabilitation opportunities are 90% volunteers. Anyway, my dreams were crushed. IDK, what to do now? I really like biology though. Celebrity chef. Kinda like Anthony Bourdain did, where you get to travel the world just tasting all kinds of food. Or just someone who develops recipes for a TV show or cookbook. I would not want to be the type of chef that works in a restaurant. Working in a kitchen cooking is one of the requirements of being a chef. A chef is just a cook who is in charge of other cooks. Snowplow driver for a small rural township. Just wanna get up at the crack of 1 AM with a thermos of coffee, hop in a truck with some music and plow the roads. Farming. I love being outside in literally any weather conditions. Blazing hot, freezing cold, rainy, etc. I love plants and growing things, and I like fixing and building stuff. However, I hesitate making actual plans, because, like any job, there are operational details and facts that make it a lot less pleasant than it sounds. I don't have $100k of cash to spend on a plot of land and farmhouse plus a few $10k more to sustain myself and my family while the farm gets up and running. So I'd be on a farm mortgage, which means I need to produce a certain amount of revenue per year as a novice farmer, or have the farm close. That's a huge risk. Cold snap, fungal infections, flood, burned, no money this year. There is literally no other income source. Not to mention the fact if you get sick or injured, production crawls to a standstill until you get better, or unless you know people who can help out. Also, the global farming lobby will increasingly ensure any land I'm likely to work won't be my own, because it's held by a small group of shareholders who have never set foot on soil outside of a golf course or perhaps the dirt of a construction site during a groundbreaking photo op. Having convinced myself my dream is unattainable and stupid, I minimize time on my real job while devoting as much time as possible to high production home gardening, with the hope I will someday produce enough food to start selling it, or teaching others to garden en masse, or open a garden center, which all achieve the same goal slantwise and with less risk. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.